shooting brake is a car body style that has evolved through several distinct meanings over its history. Shooting brake originated as an early 19th century British term for a vehicle used to carry shooting parties with their equipment and game. The term brake was initially a chassis used to brake in horses and was subsequently used to describe a motorized vehicle. The term was later applied to custom-built wagons by high-end coach builders and subsequently became synonymous with station wagon or estate. In contemporary usage, the term shooting brake has broadened to include a range of vehicles from 5-door station wagons to 3-door models combining features of a wagon and a coupe copyright. In 2006, the New York Times said the shooting brake was conceived to take gentlemen in the hunt with their firearms and dogs. And although its glory days came before World War II, and it has faded from the scene in recent decades, the body style is showing signs of a renaissance as automakers seek to invent new kinds of vehicles for consumers constantly on the hunt for the next new thing. In 2014, Lawrence Ulrich of the New York Times said the shooting brake is essentially a 2-door station wagon. Etymology and historic examples. A brake was originally a robust carriage chassis hooked to spirited horses to brake them. A shooting brake became a variation of a wagonette, a vehicle with longitudinal seats in rows with either a rear door or side doors, provided with game and gun racks and accommodation for ammunition. Early examples include Albion Motor Car Company's shooting brake, described in the weekly magazine The Commercial Motor as having seats for 8 persons as well as the driver, whilst 4 guns and a large supply of cartridges, provisions baskets and a good bag can be carried. The 1912 Hudson Model 33 could be used for collecting people and luggage from the station. It was also used to carry the beaters to and from the location of the shoot, and for bringing back the game shot. Early motorized safari vehicles were described as shooting brakes with no windows or doors. Instead, roll-down canvas curtains were buttoned to the roof in the case of bad weather. These cars were heavy and comfortable in good weather and allowed quick and silent exit as no shooting was permitted from the vehicles. Later usage and examples. The term shooting brake was subsequently applied to custom-built luxury estate cars altered for use by hunters and other sportsmen. The New York Times said the most famous shooting brakes had custom 2-door bodies fitted to the chassis of pedigreed cars, citing Bentley and Rolls-Royce as examples. By the 1930s, the term estate car was coined to describe a vehicle that could still carry a shooting party, yet at the same time be perfectly suitable for ferrying guests and their luggage to and from railway stations. The 2006 editions of the Chambers Dictionary define the term shooting brake as an archaic term for estate, or station wagon. In France, a station wagon is marketed as a brake, once having been called a brake de chasse, literally translated, hunting brake. Contemporary usage and examples. In 2006, the New York Times described a shooting brake as a sleek wagon with 2 doors and sports car panache, its image entangled with European aristocracy, fox hunts and baying hounds. In 2011, Top Gear described a shooting brake as a cross between an estate and a coupe copyright. Automotive designer Peter Horbury described the contemporary 3-door shooting brake, saying, "It is not your basic 2-door hatchback, a body style with different proportions. The hatchback tends to be skirty, while a shooting brake is sleek and has a very interesting profile. It makes use of the road space it covers a little better than a normal coupe copyright, and also helps the rear person with headroom. Especially in America, every member of the family has their own car. The occasional use of the rear seat means you can do one of these cars, even if such a wagon lacks the everyday practicality of 4 doors. This trend was apparent by 1960, when Sunbeam marketed a limited production 3-door variant of its 2-door open sports car, the Alpine, with leather interior and walnut trim, selling at a price double its open counterpart and marketed as a shooting brake. Between 1965 and 1967, a limited number of variants, marketed as shooting brakes, were custom manufactured by coach builder Harold Radford, based on the Aston Martin DB5, DB6 and DBS. Aston Martin itself later manufactured in-house a limited production shooting brake variant of its Virage Vantage. Other three-door cars combining elements of a wagon and coupe copyright have been described but were never formally marketed as shooting brakes, including the Reliance Scimitar GTE, Volvo P1800 ES, Volvo 480 and Volvo C30. Talk magazine said the Mini Clubman is essentially a shooting brake design. In 2004, Chevrolet presented its Chevrolet Nomad concept, which the New York Times described as fitting the formula of a contemporary shooting brake, and in 2005 Audi presented a shooting brake concept at the Tokyo Motor Show. The 2006 Renault Altica concept was described as a shooting brake. In 2011, the New York Times described the newly introduced Ferrari FF as a shooting brake. The BMW M Coupe and Z3 Coupe, the fixed-roof variants of the BMW M Roadster and Z3 have often been described as shooting brakes. In 1999, Popular Mechanics presented a 2001 Jaguar 5-door wagon variant of its S-Type, saying the term shooting brake was interchangeable with station wagon. In 2005, Chrysler, at the time Daimler Chrysler, introduced the Dodge Magnum as a 5-door station wagon, saying it had a shooting brake profile. At the time of its introduction, a journalist commented that the Magnum looked like a European shooting brake custom fabricated for a car not like the Sultan of Brunei's kid brother. The Mercedes-Benz CLS class shooting brake concept was displayed at the 2010 Auto China, and became a production model in 2012. In 2011, Fisker presented the Surf concept car at the Frankfurt Motor Show, a 4-door plug-in hybrid described by Automobile as a shooting brake. See also, Coupe copyright, hatchback, station wagon. References. External links.